are you, Michael?
I've been here. I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. What do you think is going to light up a phone line on your show today the most? Game 3, Giants, Jets? What do you got for me over there?
Probably the Giants and Odell. You know, the Yankees seem like everything's pretty copacetic right now. The Jets, they tease you, but the Giants, that was a pretty tough loss.
Okay, so the Odell stuff, him basically, what do you think is the one that's going to enrage fans the most? The fact that he said he's not getting the ball enough and he doesn't think that he's given the opportunity to succeed, or the fact that he doesn't know if he's happy in New York, Michael?
That's the one that gets me. I can't speak for everybody else, but my goodness, you just signed a $95 million contract. You didn't have to. You could have played until you became a free agent and went to play for the Rams or the Dolphins if it was warm weather that you wanted. So that's the one that really gets me. That really comes off as selfish.
And do you think that this is a lingering problem? Because it sounded like Pat Shurmur did his best to put it in a box, and I thought he did a great job, basically saying that the locker room handled it, and Odell's a grown man. You go speak to him.
It's going to be a problem as long as they don't win and as long as he doesn't get his touches. And I said that before the game on my Friday show. You know, you could just feel it was going to simmer, that he was going to be an issue if he didn't get his touchdowns. And although he got a touchdown and threw for one, they lose the game, but this came before the game. So anytime the Giants are going to struggle, and, you know, he wants 20 touches a game. Really? Who gets 20 touches a game? So he's always going to be unhappy.
Yeah, and is Eli an issue, do you think, Michael?
Well, he's not a scrambling quarterback in a league that the quarterbacks at least have to be mobile and elusive. And as long as he's going to be there and Odell doesn't get the deep tosses that he wants, yeah, I think it's going to be an issue. And Eli's very soft-spoken and probably isn't going to defend himself. Maybe he has to step up and just tell Odell, all right, enough. But who knows what goes on. Maybe that's the best way to handle it.
Well, I mean, Pat Shurmur said that the locker room handled it. So who do you think in that locker room was the one who handled it?
I don't know. I mean, a coach could say that, but let's see if he says it again. It's just amazing. He sits down with Josina Anderson, and he just can't keep his mouth shut. You know, the pregnant pause about when they asked him about Eli, and, you know, he also threw Shurmur under the bus. You know, Shermer's a pretty smart offensive mind. He's saying that they've been out-schemed. That's just not a good look, especially when you just signed the guy long-term.
Yeah, and now here comes a short week against the Eagles, who are now lost 2 in a row. They need it as badly as the Giants right now, Michael.
A lot of desperation in the NFL. That's what's making it fun.
I know. And how about the Jets? I didn't see that one coming, where they just beat up the Broncos. And I know it's a short week for the Broncos coming off of Monday Night Football, but those are the games that the Jets normally would drop.
I tell you what, Rich, the thing that aggravates you about this team, and you saw it the first game of the year against the Lions, and the Lions have proven since then they're not a terrible team, that they have it there. They have it in them. But for some reason, a team without any pelts at all gets cocky after they get wins. And they get sloppy, and they get lazy, and they don't play well. So the 3 losses they had in a row were really inexcusable. They're a better team than this. They're at least a 500 team. You know, let's see if they can continue this. Now they have the Colts coming in. And yesterday was the first game of 3 home games in a row. That's where you have to do something. They're good enough that they could play well against decent teams. They just can, and they proved it yesterday.
Michael Kay here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about the American League Divisional Series game, Game 3 between the Yankees and the Red Sox. What do you think is of biggest concern for either team going into tonight's game, Michael?
Well, you know, the biggest concern for me, Rich, in terms of the Red Sox is I just don't know how they're going to piece it together in their bullpen. And, I mean, I was wondering who should be manager of the year, but just after watching the first 2 games of the series and also the final 3 games of the regular season, it's a miracle that Alex Cora led this team to 108 wins with that bullpen. Now, Kimbrel's great, but before that, how are they going to do it? And the Yankees do make pitchers throw a lot of pitches, and if they do that, you're going to get a starting pitcher out after 5 innings. And if that happens, you tell me, what's the safest way to get those 12 outs? I don't know if there is a safe way. And then you look at the Yankees, one after the other, they call guys that they're pretty sure are going to pitch very well. And with Alex Cora, it's simply holding your breath. Just look at Game 2, Rich. Eduardo Rodriguez, he stayed in those situations to face right-handed batters.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like Cora is hoping that something clicks in because there's just no sure thing out there.
Yeah, he seems to he managed. I guess that's what happens now. Everybody manages every playoff game as if it's in a box. Ron Darling even said during Game 2, while Tanaka was struggling and bullpen was moving as Tanaka was cruising through the first few innings, that the day and age of pitchers being able to work through their start in the playoffs are over. Toast.
Well, it makes sense for a team like the Yankees, though, Rich, because why would you struggle with a starter when Jonathan Holder's a really good pitcher? Then it goes up a notch with Chad Green, and everybody after that, they've all been closers in the big league, so it doesn't make sense to struggle. But with the Red Sox, Cora might have to hang with Eovaldi tonight more than he wants to, simply because of the fact what is there, and you can't really realistically expect Craig Kimbrell to give you 7 outs, even 6 outs. I think would be pushing it. So the Red Sox starters, and that's been their formula throughout the year. Let's get 7 innings out of our starter. We'll piece together 3 outs, and then we'll get it to Kimbrell. But now, if the starter's only going 5, you got to get 12 outs out of the pen. I'm not sure how you could do it. That's the main reason before the series started. I took the Yankees in 4 games. We'll see if they can win the 2 games here at the stadium because, bottom line, the Red Sox are a really good team, but their bullpen is questionable.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michael, the Astros look terrific, and that's no surprise. But this Bregman kid, who burst on the scene in Yankeedom years ago, ruining that Derek Jeter retirement night when they just destroyed Tanaka, and he, wearing Jeter's number, just started lighting it up. He is terrific, and that makes the team even more dangerous and better and deeper, and they've got a closer. So I don't know whoever wins this series could even beat Houston. What do you think about that?
Well, I will tell you what. I think if the Yankees win this series, they can beat Houston. And unfortunately for the Yankees, Houston won 3 more games because I really think home field advantage plays a large role, as it did last year. And I think it will in this series that the Yankees are playing right now. That's why splitting those 2 games in Boston was so important, because the Yankees just don't lose at home. But they will have to find a way to figure out how to beat the Astros if the Astros persevere in one of those 4 games in Houston. But I think the winner of the ALCS is going to win the World Series.
Well, in terms of the Yankees, Michael, you've been covering the Yankees, as I mentioned, for quite some time. Probably even go back to the Post and Daily News days, right? That's how long you've been.
32 years.
32 years. Are you aware the reason why the Yankees have won in the playoffs isn't because of anything that you've witnessed on the field? It's because my audio executive, Mike Del Tufo, was working in a specific booth at Fox, and that is what has been the talisman, if you will, for the Yankees. Are you aware of that, Michael? Has that made it to the New York area at all?
Well, see, I grew up with Mike's brother, Tar. And I do believe that to be true, yes. They're both very positive Yankee talismans. I really believe that.
Thank you, Michael.
There you go. Yeah, because Mike's from New Jersey.
I traveled with Michael for Seton Hall.
Were you
the days of Seton Hall basketball.
Were you in the booth on Friday night, though?
Yes, I was in, but I left before the game.
Oh, my gosh.
And did not watch it. I did not watch the game.
Oh, no.
See, Michael?
I can't, because once we're up, I gotta. If I don't watch it from the beginning, I don't watch it. I got to sit off.
What do you think of that, Michael?
Mike, it's dreadful is what it is.
It's a bad effort. It's a bad effort.
I turned it on after the home run. I turned it on.
It's a terrible effort. It's an absolutely terrible effort. But I guess you
Where
didn't.
will you be tonight, Mike?
Where are you going to be tonight? Where are you going to be tonight?
I'm going to Fox.
Oh, come on. Michael, do you have anybody on the Michael K show who works on the show who is an absolute warm, wonderful human being who also just happens to be a complete liar all the time? Do you have anybody like that on your staff at all?
Wow. We've got the warm, wonderful human being, but the straight-out liar, usually it's one or the other, but both is very unusual.
It is unusual because it's false, Mike.
Which, by the way, is a lie.
No, it's not. I prove them wrong more than they prove me.
Unless it's the Costanza thing that it's not a lie if you believe it.
Can we just ask Michael about David Price? Michael, is he the worst pitcher you've ever seen in your whole life?
The Red Sox fans been dying to ask you this question.
Wow.
The biggest October
pitcher,
choke artist of all time.
Against the Yankees, I can't figure it out. You can't. How can you be that bad against one team and be a really top-flight pitcher against everybody else? It's just amazing. I don't know if they could use him in the series again. And there's talk about, we talked about the bullpen earlier. that they're going to use him out of the bullpen tonight. Well, good luck. I mean, can you imagine when he comes in, the Yankee fans? And by the way, Rich, you haven't been here in a while at the stadium.
Yeah.
This has really developed into a top flight, one of the top 3 home field advantages in all of baseball.
It's amazing because the new stadium, did not have that feeling to it. When did that happen? Last year? Did that happen last year?
No, you know when it happened? Everybody forgets this, but I forget nothing, Rich.
Nice.
2015 wild card game against the Astros. It was so loud. It was louder than it was in the 2009 World Series, but unfortunately, Keuchel shut it down.
Yes, he did.
Because they couldn't get a hit off of him and couldn't get a run. But that was the day they were loaded for bear. That's when, for some reason, it just changed. Last year, it was really unbelievable. And the game against the A's, from the very beginning, and then Judge hitting the home run just, made it up for grabs. So it's now a very, very good place for the Yankees to play.
We'll see. I mean, Stanton's got like that Jesse Barfield swing right now, Michael. You know what I mean? Like where he might yank one out, and then the next time he'll just take 3 pitches and then just go sit down. It's kind of feast or famine with him, from what it looks like.
But that's him. I mean, he can either carry a team for a month and hit 12, 15 home runs, or he could strike out an awful lot. So after he hit the home run in the A's series, I said, okay, now he could take a deep breath and finish the last week of the season hitting well. I thought that this would be the start of something, but that first game, wow, that was tough. But that's who he is. He's going to strike out a lot and hit a lot of home runs.
Well, in case tonight something unexplainable happens, just know Mike Del Tufo's in the Fox booth. That's your answer, okay? Just know that.
Well, Mike, just please give a hug to Bardia.
I totally will.
Bardia
I totally will.
Okay. Take care, Michael. Enjoy the day.
Mark. I'm never coming on again.
No. I said Markle. That's what I said. I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's
Come
better.
on,
I'm
man.
sorry.
I talked for 20 hours yesterday. Give me a break. I love you, Michael.
All right, Rob. All right, Bob.
Okay.
Love you, Rob.
Okay, Pete. There's Michael K.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.